This is my data center firewall, and this is a branch office firewall. Okay, and we will create a VPN between our data center firewall and a branch office firewall. So for that, in data center firewall, you know that we have a three interfaces: Ethernet 0, Ethernet 1, and Ethernet 2. Ethernet 0 is the internal one. So this portion is the internal one. Ethernet 1 is the external. So Ethernet 1 link is connected to external network. So we can say that this link is a external. Plus on this branch office firewall, there is a Ethernet 1 interface that is used for the external. And in this branch office firewall, Ethernet 0 interface that is used for the internal. On the branch office firewall, on Ethernet 1, there is a IP addresses configure 100.0.0.150. We have configured yesterday. On Ethernet 0, there is a subnet configure 172.16.1.0. 1.0. This is the subnet, and the IP of Ethernet 0 is 1.1. Okay. So we want to create a VPN between these two firewalls, and we want to make the secure communication between branch office internal network and your data center's internal network. Okay, we want to make the communication secure. That means how we want to do this. This is my, let's say it's my data center firewall, and this is my branch office firewall, branch firewall. So behind this branch office firewall, there is a 172 network, and behind this data center firewall, there is a 192 network. So I just wanted to make sure that between the data center and branch office, these two networks should communicate securely. So what I need to do, I need to create a VPN tunnel between these two, between the data center and branch. So data center's firewall Ethernet 1 is connected to outside, and branch office firewall Ethernet interface is connected to outside. These are the external interfaces. So on these external interfaces, for the lab purpose, I have defined the IP 100.0.0.1 on this side, and 100.0.0.150 on this interface I have defined. So I need to make sure that, suppose if this would have a real environment, so what would be the IP? There would be different series of public IP would have configured to these firewall. On this firewall, there would be different series of IP. On this firewall, there would be different series of IP. But this is the lab, so we have the same series IP, same subnet IP on both firewall external interfaces. So these interfaces are reachable. These IPs are reachable from one firewall to other firewall, or from other firewall to this firewall. Now we can configure our VPN over here. But before that, we need to add this branch firewall on my security manager, because on the security management server, from security management server, we will manage both firewalls. We'll manage this data center firewall as well, and we will manage the branch office firewall. So we need to add these two firewall over here. So if I show you the configurations, okay, so this is my workstation. I can manage the firewall from here itself, or I can manage the firewall from here itself. So yesterday what I did, I have defined the IP to this workstation. I have defined the IP to this workstation, and the IP I have defined to this workstation is 192.168.1.56. Okay, so now this is connected to which firewall? This is connected to data center firewall, and behind the internal network. This is behind the internal network. So now what is happening? when this PC is this PC want to access the network, so it is going to going through the firewall itself. Okay. So on this workstation, I have also installed a smart console. So you can say right now I have a smart console on two machines, on this machine and this machine as well. So I would manage the smart console from here, or I can manage the smart means I can access the security management server from here. It doesn't matter. Okay. So this is the basic configuration I have. Okay, on this configuration, we are going to define our VPN tunnel. So let me show you how we can manage the VPN tunnel. So if I open this and if I try to access the smart management server, okay, so let's open smart console and try to access the smart management server. Meanwhile, let me try to ping.
And Mitchell, the gateway for the smart management will be the smart gateway, right?
Yeah, the smart gateway would be the gateway for this smart management.
So if the data center smart management wants to talk to branch smart gateway, then
Then we
there
need
should
to create policy as well. Yes, correct.
on the DC smart gateway.
Correct. So by knowingly, I haven't configured any any routes yet, so that we can see what would be the challenges we will get. So
Okay.
right now I haven't configured anything because I just wanted to show you challenges if you are doing troubleshooting and if you forget to configuring this. But yes, you are right. We need to configure the route for this smart management server so that it can access the branch side. Okay, so route would be, I mean, the default gateway would be our firewall, and from the firewall it can access. So let me show you that. So if you see the rule number 2, on the rule number 2, I have mentioned that from smart management to this particular host, 100.0.0.150, on any port, it should be accept the traffic. Okay. So when I would try to access this from the management server, from the management gateway, if I wanted to add my branch gateway, this is my branch gateway on the management server. This is my management server. So if I want to add here, add the gateway, and here I can give the name. This is branch SG, branch security gateway. And if I define the open server and define the IP as well, that is 100.0.0.150. Sorry, 100.0.0.150. Okay, and if I say next, first of all, it is showing that this object is already there. I mean, this object is already there. So if I don't assign the object, then what would happen? I won't be able to create the policy. So I'm just saying, okay, I know that this object is already there. Don't worry. Just say yes. Now it is trying to reach to that particular gateway. After that, it will try to reach to that particular gateway. So let me do one thing. Let me put the SIG password or SIG key, and let's click on next and check what would happening. So now it is trying to reach to that particular gateway, but you see the connection is getting failed. So first of all, we need to know that on the destination, do do we have the correct IP on the destination? So let me check. admin uninets @123. Okay, uh, show configuration. So using show configuration, we can see the IP as well. So we would have a Ethernet 0 somewhere. Okay, if you see for Ethernet 1, we have the correct IP, and this IP should be reachable from the smart management server. So we need to make sure that this smart management server should be able to reach on this particular IP. So if I open the smart management server on the on here on the browser, so we need to check that whether what is the gateway is defined on the smart management server. So this is a smart management server, and let's see, it's a gateway. Okay, so I need to go on the default routes, and on default routes there is no correct gateway is assigned. It's a define is 192.168.1.11. So what is the meaning of 1.11? This is IP is not valid currently. So let's edit it and let's define the IP of our smart gateway. That is 100. Now we did some kind of troubleshooting. We have defined the gateway of this smart management server because it should be able to access the branch servers, branch security gateway, which is on other subnet. So now it will send data to the security gateway, and the security gateway would be able to reach here. Okay, so now let's try. Let's try if it is able to access now. Now let's say next. So now it is trying to fetch the topology from there.
Mithilesh, can you go into the diagram, the lab diagram?
Yeah, sure. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah.
So the smart manager, there are two interface. So what is the purpose of those two interface?
We can assign primary and secondary IP address. Suppose if primary
Uh-huh.
interface goes down, so we can access the smart management from
But
secondary.
as of now, we're using just one,
Yes,
192.168.
as of now we are using one, but in real scenario you will see that on your smart management there are two interface, and you would have a two management server as well. I
Okay.
mean two management subnet as well. Right now I am using single management network, but in real scenario you would have a two management network.
Okay.
If this smart grid, because in real scenario you would have a physical firewall, right, and a physical smart management server, and in physical smart management server there is a issue sometimes, its network card goes down or cable may get broken. Okay, or if your organization is hosting shared data center, so what is happening, sometimes someone unplug the cable, but that is the rare chance.
Okay.
So if by mistake a cable got unplugged, maybe you are doing some activity, right? Maybe you are in a Unix team and you are doing some activity and you call the data center guys, just plug out the cable, some cables, right? And he went on the data center and he plugged out wrong cables. Okay, on that time what would happen? Your management access would go on. So considering all these scenario, you would have a primary and secondary management interfaces.
Or we can do a port channel also aggregation.
Yeah, you can do the port channel aggregations. Yeah, you can perform that. But usually on the management, we don't perform this. We used to perform, we perform these things on the firewall side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the data plane, not on management plane. Okay, so it's still getting some issue. Let's see why I'm getting this issue.
So on
So
the maybe on the branch gateway needs a route for the security manager, DC,
yeah,
the
yeah,
branch secure gateway.
yes, correct, correct. It should require a route. So this branch gateway I need to access. Okay, so I can access from where? I can access from this system. Okay, I need to move this system to this side, and for that I required an IP address.
We
So,
can also access from branch client machines, right?
but this branch client machine, you see,
Oh, it's a switch. Oh, yeah, 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 I remember you told us. And okay, okay, okay. Okay, then
now
the
I need to move this from here to here, and then I can access.
okay, okay, okay. Understood.
Let me move to its
Yeah,
internal
anyways,
network.
that server is not doing any role. It's not of any role.
Which one?
Any purpose,
This
it's
one.
not serving any purpose. This server, Windows server is not serving any purpose. So we can move that, right? The Windows server.
Yeah, yeah, we can move that. Yeah, let's move it. And cpa.cpl. I think I moved it earlier, but let's see. Okay, yes, it is on that side as well. If you see, this IP belongs to this side. Okay,
Yeah.
so on from here I can access. Okay, so let's go on static routes and let's define the static route over here. I'm just changing the default route towards that firewall. Okay, so whatever the packets it have, it will send to that firewall 100.0.0.1. Now let's try if now it is able to access. Yeah, seems. Okay, so good catch. Okay, now I would be able to add it.
So Mitlesh,
Yeah,
when we add the firewall in the security manager, the session is initiated by the security, the smart manager,
yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay, so we don't need any rules on the other end. So
Yeah,
smart gateway is not.
by default, yeah, we don't require rule because we have implicit rule. So in
Okay.
implicit rule, there are required service, whatever the required services to communicate a smart manager to a smart gateway. So all those services are allowed by default.
Okay, okay. But that is on the smart gateway side. On smart manager side, we need to explicitly edit because I saw a rule you added, right? 100.0.0.1
I just added for the
any.
reachability. I just added those for the reachability. I
Yeah,
have added this for the reachability
second
because
one.
if any communication by default we need to,
100.0.1.
yeah, if we want to establish the SIG communications, so for the SIG communication there are the SIG ports. Those SIG ports should be allowed.
Okay.
That's why I have added here. So I
So
either
the
I could define the SIG port over
okay.
here, or I can allow the any. So I have allowed any for the lab, but you must make sure secure that SIG port like 180, 18209, 18210, 18211. These are the SIG ports. There are two more ports. So these are the SIG ports that need to be allowed.
So that's not part of implicit policies.
That is not
That
part
is
of an implicit policy. In implicit policy, you will not get any types of SIG rule, SIG port.
okay. But it is there on the smart gateway side. The implicit policies to allow communication with smart manager.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now I have added the gateway. Okay, and if you want to install some policy on the gateway, you can install as well. So gateway I have added. If I want to install the policy, so what I will do, I will clone the policy, and for that gateway, I would create a separate policy. So let me clone this X and clone. Uh, I'm just renaming the policy as per naming convention. Okay, so this DCSG would be dedicated for our DC gateway. That is SG, and this one would be dedicated for, sorry, so I have assigned wrong. This would be for branch, and this would be for data center. Okay, so now you can see I have two policy. One policy, this policy is dedicated. So this policy is correct, but here need to do some kind of modification. So instead of this, I need to mention here. I'm just correcting the policy currently. Okay, so I'm on branch SG, so here I need to change. Okay, so now I have separated policy. One policy for our data center firewall, and other policy for the branch office firewall. Okay. Now I can install this branch office firewall policy to my branch gateway. Okay, this is branch gateway, branch SGT. Okay, right. So now I can install it. And this DCSG policy I can install on my data center gateway. I haven't started the configuration of IPsec. I just preparing the ground right now. I haven't started configuring the policy. I mean configuring the VPN. So once ground will get prepared, then we'll configure the policy. Okay, now all the things is completed. Ground is prepared. So let me give you one more time overview. I have a branch gateway is managed on the same management server, and I have the security gateway. This is managed by the same management server. Both the gateway is managed by the same management server. So if we want to create IPsec VPN, so first of all, we need to perform first step. What is the first step? Let me write the steps again, all the steps. Okay, so I can write here. Let me change the color. In the first step, this is my first step. In first steps, I need to enable VPN blade. In second step, what we need to do? In second steps, uh, we need to create a community, create VPN community. In third one, define VPN domain. And in fourth steps, define link for VPN. And in fifth steps, create VPN policy and push the policy. Push the policy to respective gateway. Okay, so there are five steps. First, you need to enable the VPN blade. So how you will enable the VPN blade? You can enable the VPN blade from here. So let me enable the VPN. Let me just close this.
Mitlesh,
And yeah,
between step 1 and 2, last time you said that we also need to define VPN peer. That's not a step
yeah.
here.
You okay? Sorry. I might have missed that. But you can define the VPN peer when you are creating a VPN community. When you are
Okay.
creating VPN community, at that time you can define the VPN peer. Okay. Okay. Now, coming to here, let's enable the VPN blade. So let me just put this side. Here is the IPsec VPN blade. You just enable it and say OK. And the in other gateway, okay, no issue. In other gateway, you can also enable the VPN blade. So on this one, let's enable the VPN blade. That is the first step. So first step has been completed. Then create VPN community. That is second step. So meanwhile, I'm marking which steps has been created, completed as well. So this step has been created, completed. Now create a VPN community. So how you can create a VPN community? You can just go on the security policy, and here you have option for the VPN community. This option. This option is for VPN community. You can click on the community. Okay. So by default, you will get some. These are the default community that is already created. But if you want to create community by your own, so you can just go here and click on community. So we have a two types of community, star and mesh community. So let me explain what is the star and what is the mesh community. So if I talk about the star community, so let me write here. Okay, if I'm talking about the star community, so in star community, we have a VPN gateway. Maybe this is my VPN gateway in HQ, and we have the VPN gateway on the branch. So if I added the VPN gateway on the star community, this is on branch 1, branch 2, branch 3. If I add it like this, so if this branch 1 gateway want to communicate to branch 2 gateway, they cannot communicate directly. Direct communication is denied. Where they need to go? They need to go on HQ, and then they need to go on particular wherever they want to communicate. But this HQ can communicate to all the gateway. This is the star community. But if we talk about the mesh community, so in mesh community, all the gateway within the mesh community would able to reach each other, would able to communicate to each other. That usually happen in a DM VPN. When you are creating a DM VPN and when you creating a DM VPN as a mesh topology, so they can communicate to each other directly. They don't need to go on any HQ servers. Okay, hope you got the point. So this is about the community. So what kind of community you want to create? So right now I'm choosing a star community, but you can choose the mesh community as per your choice. So let me go here and let me create the star community. In star community, what I need to do, I need to define the my community name. So how I can define the community name? We can give any name. For example, I can give the community name DC DC2 branch, DC2 branch VPN. I have given this name, but as per your choice, you can give the name VPN. Okay. Then in this community, you need to define the gateway as well. Okay, gateway peer. So that which gateway would be part of this community. So you can define your both gateway over here, the branch gateway and the remote gateway. I mean satellite gateway. You can define that these gateway would be part of this VPN community. After this, you can go for the encrypt option. So this is nothing but it is saying that this accept all encrypted traffic on where. So we can just ignore it, but we can define that where should be encryption happen, on the branch side or the satellite gateway or the central gateway where the encryption should happen. So we need to just ignore this. Then we can go on the encryption option. This is very important where you used to define phase 1 and phase 2. Okay. So first of all, you can define for the communication whether you want to use IKE version 1 protocol or IKE version 2 protocol. Okay, which protocol you want to use. If you want to use IKE version 2, so you can select this IKE version 2 only. If you want to use IKE version 1, so you can select this option. Okay, but IKE version 1 you can use for the IP version 4, but it is mandatory if you have IP version 6, then you will go for the IKE version 2. But if you want to prefer IKE version 1, IKE version 2, if this IKE version 2 is not available and you want to not available on other side and you want to communicate on the IKE version 1, so you can select this option, IKE, the top one. So it's your choice, you just select it. So I have selected default one, that is IKE version 1 for the IP version 4, and for the rest of version of the IP you can select IKE version 2. Now here you need to define which algorithm for encryption you will use. This is for the phase 1. Okay, this is the phase 1. Which algorithm you want to use? So you can define SHA, AES. So AES 256 is the best one currently in a most of the firewall supporting all these things. Then you can select for the data integrity. This is for the hashing, and this is for the Diffie-Hellman group. That which group you want. Okay. So you want group 2, group 5, what the group you want. So you can select as per choice. So mostly you will see that people used to select group 5, but I'm leaving it to default right now. Now this phase 1 has completed. Okay, phase 1 encryption, data integrity, and Diffie-Hellman group has been completed. Now talking about the phase 2. On phase 2 you can also define that on phase 2 data should be encrypted, so you can also define that it should be encrypted by which protocol. So in interview, might interviewer can ask you that whether in phase 2 we can send unencrypted traffic. It is possible to send. So you can say yes, it is possible to send, because if you define null here, last one, null value, that means on phase 2 there is a no encryption. You can select null here, but I am leaving to default one, that is a AES 256. So this is for the phase 1 and phase 2. Now we have the option here whether I want to use aggressive mode on IKE version phase 1, so we can select. If we are not selecting, then that means this is the main mode. Then we have the option for the IKE version 2, on phase 2, whether we want to enable perfect forward secrecy. So if we enable this, so on the phase 2, it will use a Diffie-Hellman key, and this key will use to renegotiate the tunnel in some times, whether your data is going to exceed or the tunnel lifetime is going to increase. So on that basis, it will use Diffie-Hellman group. So if you want to enable, you can enable. But if you enable this on one end, so on the other end, you also need to enable same things. That means in VPN, the setting should be identical on both ends. So I'm just disabling this perfect forward secrecy, and then you can go for the tunnel management. So you have a different types of tunnel management. Whether you want to create a tunnel for, we have the option here. If we go the VPN tunnel sharing, so whether we want to create a tunnel for per subnet, per gateway, or per host, how we want to create. So if we select the gateway one, this is the route mode tunnel, and if we select this one, this is for the policy based tunnel. So if we have a Palo Alto on the other side, so we have to select this option. But if we have the same firewall, so Check Point firewall, so we can select this option. So these are the tunnel sharing. So it will create a single tunnel between two different subnets. If you have subnet 172 and you have subnet 192, there would be a single tunnel for that particular subnet. But if you select the first option, so what will happen? It will create a tunnel, multiple tunnel within the IPsec phase 1. It will create a multiple tunnel between a host. Suppose if you have some host on side A and side B, for each host, if they are initiating the communications for each host, it will create a dedicated tunnel. So it's better you can use this one option.